So, The Orphanage, El Orfanto.
Orphanato.
is directed by Juan Antonio Bayona and produced by
Guillermo.
Del Toro.
Well, I mean, if you don't know much about it, it's set, it sort of follows a woman who loses her son near the beginning of the story and spends the rest of the time looking for her son in this sort of abandoned orphanage that she grew up in. And in a lot of ways, we've got all the kind of classic horror archetypes stuck into this movie. So you've got, the big empty freaky house, you've got kids drawing
creepy children
of monsters that they're seeing, you've got pretty much every single horror cliche that you can think of that you've seen in the last 30 years.
The disbelieving husbands.
Disbelieving husband, mediums,
the whole shebang
goes into it. But that's not slighted at all, because what it does is it takes these different cliches and it reminds you why so many films use them in the first place, because when they're done right, they're brilliant. I mean, it's incredibly...
It feels original, doesn't it, still, despite the fact that it's kind of taking a load of ideas that are been used 100 times before. It kind of makes it feel like it brings its own...
It brings new life into them. You don't realise that it's going through the cliches because you're so kind of wrapped up in what the film's actually doing to you.
By doing it is scarier than a lot of kind of horror films that really try and freak you out,
I mean, what really impresses me is that I have a lot of respect for films that are scary, not through gore, but because they're really creepy. I think The Others and The Sixth Sense are probably good examples of that. It's really, really difficult to get a scare through being smart rather than just by throwing guts at the screen. Definitely. And I think this managed to do it.
I think that some people, some of the critics that we read after sort of slam the ending.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, and I wonder, because the film does end, I don't think it ruins it to say that the focus is on a different character, I suppose. I suppose kind of threw people a little bit, because that other character doesn't have too much to do with the rest of the film.
I mean, it feels a bit, the very ending feels a bit like an epilogue in a way.
Yeah.
I felt that I was genuinely quite moved by it, and that's very rare for a horror film for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great story, I think. I think that's why they don't want to say too much, because you want to enjoy the story as it goes along.
Yeah, if you had any criticisms to make of it, what would you go after it for?
Well, Chris Cornwell, in fear of sounding like a bit of a pretentious wanker, my only thing that I came out of it thinking was that a lot of mentions about belief and ideas of kind of religious sort of undertones to it all. If anything, I would have liked to have explored that a bit more than it did. I kind of felt like there's another film there somewhere where he kind of goes into that in more detail. Oh yes, what we're going to do, weren't we? Our overall scores.
Yes.
Which we haven't done yet. I don't know, there's a better way than this to do it. Very high tech, what we're going to do. Let's split this bad boy up. And if you want to write your score on there.
Okay.
Out of 100, I think.
Out of 100, okay.
Yeah. I won't look.
Something I've always wondered about scores out of 100. What distinguishes a 68 out of 100 from a 69 out of 100? How do you quantify
a huge number of factors, which I hope you take into account when you write your score down. So there's a lot of things there that I think about. Just big ideas basically. Don't tell me. Show me. I didn't see. But yeah, you hold that. Oh God, what am I going to do now?
I just realised.
You have to, and this is completely on it. We have to be completely honest about this. We're not. The thing is, what I was thinking about this on the way here was that if Chris gave it if I think that Chris is going to give this like a 99 out of 100, I'd want to be tempted to give it like 60 just to balance it out and give me the score that I want to have. but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it a score that I genuinely thought it was. Which I think you'll be happy with, hopefully.
Okay. What you go for?
Are you ready?
Yep.
91! I didn't get a higher score than him! God damn it! Jesus, so there you go. So rounding it up, I'd say 91 out of 100.
I guess I'm just a more discerning critic and so on.
Oh no, there it is! Fucking hell, I knew I should have done 89. I knew I should have done 89. Well, what can you do, eh? There you go, 91 out of 100, The Orphanage. Ta-da!